Let's say we up and left this.
Cars.com recently revealed its top predictions for the trends that will most impact car shoppers and sellers. Joe Wiesenfelder, executive editor, will share the top 5 auto trends that are shaping the industry. Joe, thanks for being with us today. Let's talk about those trends.
Sure. Well, trend number one is one that people are less aware of, and that is the updatability of cars. A lot of people know that Tesla is an electric car company, and some know that the cars have been wirelessly updatable for many years. And this is important because not only does the car update like your phone might update or your computer might update with an operating system, but it spreads beyond just what's in the dashboard. It's more about any aspect of the car that runs on computer code, which nowadays is a lot of the car. And that includes safety systems like collision avoidance systems. And those algorithms that run that are always improving. So instead of buying a car that works okay now and being stuck with it for 10, 12 years, you have a car that evolves over time and has features added. And so like Tesla, now BMW is getting into that with the X5 and the 3 Series. Cadillac CT5 is available now. Chevy is adding a few with the new Corvette and the Tahoe and Suburban. Ford is going to have this capability in the Mustang Mach-E electric car. So it's spreading and it's going to continue. It's an important feature that I think is probably worth the money. And we say that partly because one of our other big predictions is, it's a trend and also a prediction of continuation, that we're in a bit of an affordability crisis, evidenced by long loan terms, like 7 years for a loan, which ends up with consumers often paying more than they should for the car, and or carrying too much debt from one loan to the next and just rolling it on. And we think probably people in that situation would be better off buying cheaper cars to begin with, certified pre-owned, or maybe even leasing. If you're not going to own the car at the end anyway, lease, get the new one. So that's the backdrop. We're already a bit of an affordability crisis. So that brings up our next 2 trends that we're thinking about and looking at in the future, which people do know about, which are electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles. And we, as much as we like electric cars and think they're necessary and important, and we think sales will spike over the next couple of years with more SUVs, which Americans love and have not been available in electric form, and pickup trucks as well. After sales peak for a couple of years, we think EVs might struggle to reach mainstream in the coming decade because they are still pretty expensive despite their limitations, at a time when in a country where gasoline is really cheap and incentives, federal and state, are actually on the wane. They are not growing. So we have a similar view of autonomy. Neat. Technology, it'll probably do really well commercially with ride-hailing or even semi-trucks and stuff like that. But in terms of you as a consumer being able to buy it, it's probably going to be several years out and probably pretty expensive in the coming decade, probably not mainstream.
I kind of feel like I'm okay with that. So what does this mean for car shoppers and sellers out there?
Well, I think it's the same general guide that we give to everyone, which is, be as knowledgeable as you can when you're doing your shopping. One of the other things we're looking at is how, buyers and sellers communicate, and we've watched it over the 20-plus years that Cars.com has been in existence, and things have already evolved. Buying a car is a lot closer to buying other things online right now. You're not necessarily clicking and buying, which is probably not the best approach for something as expensive and generally not returnable as a car, but because people do want to go, test drive it, feel it, make sure it's the right thing. But dealerships have evolved, and they now communicate more online through chat, through email, through whatever the consumer wants, really, because that's where the sales are. And a lot of them are willing to negotiate that way and maybe even take it to almost to the last step that way. And then all you need to do is go in and sign the paperwork and pick up the vehicle. Over the coming decade, we suspect that evolution, as opposed to a revolution, will continue. And there will be more, trying to meet the consumer at their comfort level and do business the way consumers want to do it. And ultimately, that will benefit both sides.
Well, very interesting stuff. Where do we go to learn more from you?
Definitely go to Cars.com.
We'll check it out. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Stick around after the break. We've got news and weather headlines.